everyone, it's me, Julian Greystoke, here with all three cats. Jane, Nigel is down there, and Kinchu's up on top of a bookcase waiting to dive bomb me. I feel so safe. So today I decided to just come as I am, not wearing any makeup or anything, because I just finished watching, finally, Season 1 of Elementary, which I just happened to pick up from my library. I know I'm super late to the game. I don't really care. I don't have a cool shirt today because I don't have anything Sherlock Holmes related to wear except for my hat, and I don't know where that is, which is really sad and depressing, so I'm just wearing a sweater because Sherlock in Elementary wears a lot of sweaters. I do, however, have this awesome Sherlock mug because mugs are the best. So if any of you have been paying attention at all, you know that I love Sherlock Holmes. I've seen pretty much every Sherlock Holmes anything that exists. I have seen the anime Sherlock Hound. And I had seen a few episodes of Elementary with my Sherlock Holmes fan club, we call ourselves the Sherlockians, and I was kind of meh. It really didn't get me excited to keep watching. It was at my library, so I picked it up and watched through all of the first season. So what did I think? Well, I've got a piece of paper here with some notes on it, so let's find out. The first thing that I want to bring up that we noticed while we were watching it as a group is that this particular Sherlock Holmes is totally a Basset Hound. His Basset Hound levels are intense sometimes. Sherlock's personality in Elementary is pretty different from what I'm used to seeing, anywhere from BBC's Sherlock to House. We are used to a Sherlock that's a lot more abrasive and bad at functioning around people. And while this guy's kind of socially inept, honestly, he struck me as fine. A person that you could at least get along with. Aside from an episode where he was throwing things at Watson to try to teach her to defend herself, he never did anything that struck me as overly mean or rude or socially inept. It's Kinchu! She's here to get hair all over my sweater, hooray! Speaking of sweaters, this particular Sherlock is not a snappy dresser like most other Sherlocks are portrayed to be. No, he is a lover of the warm sweater, and I guess I can't blame him. You know, I feel like most Sherlocks are kind of pointy and abrasive. It's like a triangle covered in sandpaper, and you have to figure out how to get along with them. And this particular Sherlock is pretty fluffy and rounded, and honestly, I don't know if I liked it. I think that was like one of my biggest turnoffs in this show. I am far more engaged personally by dickish asshole geniuses. It's just an archetype that I like, as evidenced by my love for Sherlock Holmes, because he's usually a dickish asshole genius. It was interesting to see Sherlock's drug use because canonically he is a user and does drugs in between cases. But in this one he has kicked the habit when we first meet him, and he's trying to go sober. And the show, in the first season at least, has never shown him having a relapse, has not shown him giving in and taking drugs, which on the one hand I like because it really is a different aspect of Holmes, especially when I'm used to, say, House, who really cannot kick the habit at all. So on the one hand it is really cool seeing that version of a Holmes who is trying to stop taking drugs. However, we never get to know what he was like when he was on drugs, so I'm wondering if there are going to be flashbacks of that happening in some future season. And I'm really worried that the writers of this show, if enough seasons go by, are not going to be able to resist the urge to have him have relapses. So let's talk about Watson. Watson! Obviously, gender bend in this one. Watson played by a woman, which I am on board with. I have nothing against that. This Watson is a bit different. She's learning to be a detective. She wants to be like Holmes instead of just being his his partner. That side of things is kind of cool and interesting. I liked it okay. It was good to have Watson having more of a goal than just, hey, I am Sherlock's buddy and I chronicle his adventures and isn't he a genius? Whoa. But at the same time, I still really felt like we weren't giving Watson enough credit initially. She's already coming into this having been a doctor, having been a surgeon, jobs that required her to use her brain, and she must be a very smart person. And you always know that about Watson, that he is already above average, but that Sherlock is like so much more above average than Watson. And this Watson, I really wish that we had gotten to see more of her innate ability and her innate knowledge coming into play. She does doctory things every now and then, but I always cheer when I'm watching or reading something Sherlock Holmes related when Watson just comes up with something that he just knew because he was a doctor or a soldier or something like that, and you're just like, yeah, Watson, yeah, you prove that you're here for a reason. And this particular Watson didn't really do that very often, and that made me a little sad. It seemed like every skill that she had was one that Holmes was kind of giving her, which it kind of messed with the dynamic. Like, I think they were trying to make Watson a more powerful person with a lot more agency than we're used to from, say, Jam Watsons, but as a result, the way that they went about it felt like she was getting all of her power from Sherlock anyway. This could be personal preference, but I really ended up feeling like I wished I knew Watson better. So many other Watsons have gotten attached to Sherlock much sooner than this one. This one was a little bit longer, more drawn out, and I still understood why those Watsons chose to be with Sherlock more than I understood why this Watson chose to be with Sherlock. I don't know, it's probably just a personal preference for how the relationship goes. I gotta say, I really love male-female friendships. I love them so much, and I really hope that this show can stay strong and keep Holmes and Watson as friends and not in a relationship. It's doing a good job so far, but I know how tempting it is as seasons go on to hook them up together. Because we've already got Mulder and Scully, we've got Bones and Booth, we have so many of these male-female partnerships that ended up as relationships. Okay, let's talk about some baddies. Most of the bad guys that were name dropped in this were only one-off episodes, but we also got, the show could not resist the classic baddie of Moriarty, and they could not resist plopping him already in the first season, probably because they're really trying to get the fans in, you know, at this point. They don't know if their show's gonna continue, so they're like, we gotta get Moriarty in here, gotta drop that big name. Even though Moriarty is not, like, the only villain that Holmes ever faced, but let's ignore them because Moriarty, we have decided publicly, is the best. So we've got our Moriarty here, and we also have Irene, because people also cannot handle not having Sherlock Holmes's one romantic interest, even though he never stipulated that he was romantically inclined towards her, just that he admired her. That's a different rant. Nobody can resist putting Irene in anything either. So we have Irene and we have Moriarty, and boom, they turn out to be the same person. I want to call her Maureen because it's Moriarty and Irene. Maybe I already have. I like the idea that Irene was manipulating Holmes this whole time and that she is evil. I dig that. However, this particular actress and the particular portrayal they have does not make a very good Moriarty. Before they revealed that she was Irene, she was this shadowy figure that no one ever saw and had like redundancies of henchmen. And then she revealed herself and she's meeting up with people herself. Woman, I know we're supposed to understand that you're kind of obsessed with Sherlock, but what happened? I don't believe you're the Napoleon of crime. You're making all kinds of really stupid decisions. Nigel's tail is here. It is attached to Nigel. It's only the final episode where I finally had some feels, and I will admit that the final episode did make me have some feels, and I finally, like, it took all of season 1 for me to finally believe that maybe Holmes and Watson were actually friends. There we go! More of that, please. So I'm probably going to watch season 2, and I'm hopeful that there will be more of that, and there will be more Holmes and Watson friendship feels for me. So that's all I really need. Well, that and Miss Hudson to come back. Anyway, I've probably rambled on way too long about this, and most of you've gotten bored and left. Remember, friends, I post new videos Mondays and Fridays, at least right now. We'll see if we can keep that going. All the links to my social media are in the doobly-doo. And if you liked what you saw here today, why not click on the like button, because that makes logical sense. You liked it, you should click the like. It's like, it's as though it was meant to be. And I will see you all again next time with whatever it is I happen to be doing next time, which may just be trying to get out from under all of these cats, because this is real. There's cats. So many cats.